interesting survey that came out. It was a study that compiled roughly 3,000 tweets that had been sent to various NBA players between October of 2020 and January of 2021 to determine which players received the most negative and the most positive tweets on a daily basis. And what the study found was that Steph Curry is the most polarizing player in the NBA. And they found that because on the one hand, he got the second most positive tweets. The most positive tweets, believe it or not, were for Kevin Love. And which I assume is because, he's come out and talked openly about his mental health challenges. Right.
I think that has a lot to do with it because a lot of people, that's something, Chris, people can't come to grips with, people can't deal with. So when someone is that courageous to admit that everything's not okay, like he has this great life, right? He's an athlete. He makes millions of dollars. He can have anything he wants, and yet there's still something. And then to be able to openly admit that is major.
Absolutely. So that's probably behind that number. But Steph was second most positive tweets, 47.5%. The percentages don't matter. LeBron was third, and Blake Griffin was fourth. I don't get that one. I would have gotten that 5 years ago, but whatever the case, Blake was fourth. But as far as the most negative tweets, Steph was first, and Westbrook was second, and then Joel Embiid third, LeBron fourth, and KD fifth. So being that Steph was got the most negative tweets, and then the second most positive tweets, that makes him the most polarizing player in the league, at least according to this study. I want to ask you, why? Because I don't get why he's the most polarizing. If you said LeBron, who obviously is polarizing as well, I would kind of get that. But why Steph?
I think it's a combination, like just the fuss that was made over Steph. It was nauseating. It was sickening. I'm not talking about him as a player. He's not worthy of some praise or whatever he got. It was just over the top. He's a perfect guy. Oh, he's great. He's got a great family. His daughter's so pretty. Do you remember all the shots of his daughter after the games and all that, Chris?
At the press conference.
Right? I mean, I'm not knocking her. I'm not, right? I'm just telling you why I think people have pushed back on Steph. And, I just think he's gotten so much love that people automatically just, nobody's that good. Nobody's that perfect. Nobody's life, oh, well, he's a son of a former basketball player who was pretty darn good in the NBA, and he's had this great life, and he's got this, and his wife's a chef, and he's got the cute kid, and he changed the game, and all the other narratives. I think that's the pushback. I don't think it's anything that Steph has done. I think it's just
okay. That's a big difference. Because I don't think he's out there. Yeah, I don't think he's out there saying,
I'm not saying
that I got this perfect life and all that. Right. That's a good
Chris,
point.
But Chris, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not anything that he's done, but that's what was coming out. And I think that's what people push back on. And it doesn't matter. It could be somebody else, Chris, in the same exact vein, the same thing happening to them where they paint this great picture and people just go, ain't nobody got that life. You know what I mean? Like ain't nobody got that life. And I think that's why.
I'm not feeling that. I mean, I get where you're coming from.
I'm just giving you.
I hear you. Right.
I'm not saying
that's
that this
is a valid opinion. Right. That's a valid opinion.
I'm not saying that this is the gospel. I'm just trying to give you what I'm thinking, because you're right. You can't come up with anything. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm like, and I don't think, look, first of all, I think he earned whatever he got. This is a kid that wasn't heavily recruited. He played at freaking Davidson.
I covered him in the NCAA tournament. I remember him.
I didn't believe in him. I didn't think he was going to be any good in the NBA. And, I thought he might be okay, but I certainly didn't think he'd be a star. Forget superstar. I didn't think he'd be a star. He was drafted 7th, which is, no big whoop. And even his first, great year, I remember his 4th season when I'm thinking specifically of the TNT crew, Barkley and Kenny Smith and those guys. And they were saying he got snubbed because he wasn't an all-star. That year he averaged 22 points, 7 or 8 assists. It was his first really breakout year, 7 assists. Didn't make the all-star team. So my point is that I don't think, and I'm not saying you were saying this, but I don't think he's been handed anything. I think he's had to earn whatever he's gotten. The year he really became a superstar was the year that they came out of the blue in Steve Kerr's first season as a coach and wowed everybody by winning 60-something games and running to the NBA championship. And it was like he earned that, and then they win 73 the next year. He averages 30. He becomes the first unanimous MVP. Now, I'll give you that. He shouldn't have been the first unanimous MVP ever.
Right. People looked at that and went, what?
That was, LeBron should have gotten it before. Jordan obviously should have gotten it before. You can name a host of players. Shaq maybe he should have gotten it before.
Shaq was as dominant as it gets, and you would think that there were years people didn't vote for him?
Right. So, but I just think that, and like you said, he hasn't been out there promoting. There are players, I won't go into names, but there are guys that do kind of push the narrative. They push their family out there. They push all their great stuff they're doing out there. I think that
happened with Tiger Woods, Chris. I think that happened with Tiger Woods.
Well, he was certainly viewed that way. When he had his fall, people looked at him like, oh, you portrayed this all-American family and great family man. But again, I felt this way with Tiger, and maybe I'm wrong. I didn't think Tiger did anything that most people don't do. He wasn't in a bunch of commercials with his wife and kids.
Yeah, but there were a lot of pictures on the website. It was just the kids.
He was married and he had his family.
I know. But I'm just saying, but it just came off after you heard the sultry details. Do you know what I mean?
Right, that he was so different from the image.
Right.
I got a funny story. I won't name the writer just in case they have an issue, but there was a writer out in Golden State who's close to Steph and wanted to do Steph actually went to him like, hey man, I want to do, this was a few years ago. I want to do a story people got this image of me as, like you said, kind of honest, perfect kid. He doesn't make any mistakes, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, I want to do a story just, I'm regular. I'm a regular dude. I'm not perfect. I'm just, I'm who I am. And so the writer was like, okay, cool. And so he interviewed Steph. They really talked about it, and they're looking at, okay, what are some of the flaws and all that stuff. And the writer said to Steph, look, man, we shouldn't do this story.
Right.
Because, well, here's the reason. He said, if this is your bad stuff.
Right. I already knew, Chris, what you were going to say.
People going to feel like you're really more perfect than they think you are already. You know what I mean? So
like it would have been like, oh, this is you're showing me how you don't have a perfect life.
Right.
I leave the lights on. I leave the toilet seat up. Do you know what I mean? Like is that your bad life you're living?
Right,
People don't want to hear that. And the writer probably did him a favor, Chris.
No, I agree. I agree. And look, I think there are some people that are bothered by this, the shimmying. They think he's cocky. Sometimes he'll put up a shot and turn around, not even look at it, and it goes in, stuff like that. But that's, that's the NBA. A lot of guys do stuff like that. But it's a bit baffling to me that he is so polarizing and gets a lot of negative, trolling. So
I would be interested to see if people feel the same way. And what is it about Steph? You know what I mean? Like, he was perfect for the kids too, Chris. He was like, all the kids wanted to be Steph, right?
Right.
They're not 6'8". He's not 6'8". He looks like them. A lot of little kids felt like they could pick up Steph. They could play with him. Like
cute guy. Yeah, but really, though. And I will throw this out there, Rob. I do think there may be some pushback because the media, and you know this, the young NBA media, the generation after you and me,
right?
they're heavily analytics driven. And they love Steph because of that, right? I mean, they have written glowingly of Steph because he is so analytics driven. And I do know a lot of players, had felt, especially early as he really emerged in the superstar,
that he was getting too much.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't defend. He not necessarily guard any other point guard.
Right.
And, why is he getting this? People are saying he's the best player in the world. Come on, he's not better than LeBron James. That type of stuff. And so I get that. And that analytics-driven media are the ones that were trying to kill Kobe because he's not the great. His stats don't match up that great analytics.
No, when you look at the numbers and stats, you go,
right.
Maybe not. And then there's the eye test that we all saw. And former players love Kobe with the killer instinct, Chris,
Absolutely.
that don't have anything to do with those things. Like a lot of people would the stat people might be like when he put up those air balls in his rookie year, Chris.
Right.
But to a lot of players, that showed moxie and big balls. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
a rookie with Shaq on the team, he didn't put up one air ball. He put up two.
Right.
And they lost the game.
Yeah. That is moxie, Rob. That is moxie.
You know what?
Because most people just wouldn't like, all right, let me, what am I doing?
Right. Especially if you missed the
here.
first one, Chris.
Right.
Like first. And if you missed the first one, air ball.
Yeah.
We were doing locally here in L.A. on KMBC on Fred Rogan's show, Going Rogan.
Yep.
And I was asked my favorite Kobe moment. And most people pick, some big game or playoffs or, do you know what I mean?
Right.
Or what was it, 61, Chris? All that?
Yeah, 81.
81,
yeah.
All
and then,
that?
of course, 60 his last game.
Right. I picked the two air balls in his very first playoff, in that playoff series. Because that told you he was a different kind of guy.
Right.
That
not told you all you needed to know.
Right.
He was going to get the skills.
Right. Not too many rookies.
To make that shot eventually. Yep.
Yes, could even take that shot, Chris. Wouldn't have the gumption.
Nah, I hear you. Why is Steph Curry so polarizing? We want to hear your opinion.
All right, let's kick it off with, let's start with Jabari in Michigan. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Jabari?
Hey, Chris and Rob. Thank you for you guys for having me on the show.
Yes, sir.
So I'll just start it by this, and I'll keep it short with you. The only reason why Steph Curry is so polarized is because he's the face, and because he's the face, he is this light-skinned brother that looks like a high school kid and is short, and people feel like that he's an easy target. And you guys know this. You, Rob, and Chris, they know. If people believe that you are an easy target or they feel like you are soft, they will test you. They will say anything to make sure they feel like they could get under your skin. They do this to Blake Griffin as well, even though he was taller, but they did the same thing to Blake Griffin. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like until Steph Curry feels like that he has to defend himself or he's going to have to swing at somebody, that is when people will back off. But now they feel like that he's an easy target.
I don't get the impression, maybe you do, Rob, and maybe others do. I don't get the impression that people think he's soft. I'm not saying they think he's the toughest guy in the world, but do you think he's soft?
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
Wasn't Muhammad Ali light-skinned?
No, he wasn't. He was brown-skinned.
He was light-skinned.
No, he was not.
The greatest of all time.
Don't try to put him in the light-skinned camp. You know that's not true.
He didn't have curly hair, but his skin was light-skinned.
He wasn't like you. He wasn't white.
No,
damn
he wasn't
near
as
white.
light as me. But hold on, see, brothers gonna have to change that. Because there's too many light-skinned brothers balling. Look at Zach LaVine winning the dunk contest in amazing fashion. Ben Simmons, LaMelo Ball. Man, them light-skinned brothers balling now.
Whatever. All right, Anthony
Look at
in
you,
Illinois.
Klay Thompson.
Yeah,
light-skinned brother changed the game. Steph Curry.
He's busted up. Anthony in Illinois, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio.
Hey, guys, love the show how you guys always take callers, so I appreciate that.
Hey, you know what? You guys are part of the show, man, no doubt.
I love that about you guys. But as a basketball coach myself, I feel like Steph's not well-liked because he's changed the game so much. It's become a three-point game. there's no such thing as a post guy anymore. Everybody's a three-point shooter, and I think old school guys don't like that. The analytics have changed, and everybody blames that on Steph Curry.
That's not a bad point.
Okay.
That's not a bad point. He has changed the game. And you think maybe guys that, we had Kerry Kittles on the other day was saying there's some guys in his era. You think of the tough, hard-nosed power forward who couldn't shoot past 14 feet, Rob, but they were tough and they could rebound and defend and set picks. And those guys would have trouble playing today. That's not a bad point. That's not a
Let's
bad
go
point.
to the NBA connoisseur in the Bay Area. He's on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's happening?
What's up, Rob? What's up, Chris?
How are you,
man?
I'm going to give it to you guys straight, man.
Yes.
Wardell is polarizing in two ways. One, he's well-liked by a lot of people who see him as non-threatening, as a guy that their daughter would have no problem dating and being associated with. And
I do not disagree with that. I'm not going to.
Really?
No.
Really?
Not non-threatening is right. He's a likable.
You agree with it, you said.
Yeah. I said I'm not going to.
I thought you said you disagree with it.
No, Chris.
Yeah,
I agree with
I can see that.
He's a nice guy. He's you're not fearful of this guy. He's easygoing. He's always smiling. Life is
I'm gonna
good.
keep it real too, and keep the caller on. I want to hear his second thing, but obviously there's not a lot of white. There's not a lot of white stars in the league, and I'm saying this as a light-skinned guy. That's closer to white. So if you can't latch on to a white star, you can latch on to a light star. You know what I'm saying? I mean, keeping it real. And so there may be some of that at play. Did we get off?
No, I'm still here.
You're there.
Okay,
what
go
do you
ahead.
think?
What's your second point?
Okay, my second point is that Wardell rarely D's up on the other end of the floor. And we know, guys, having been a baller, me too, that it's hard to respect a guy that doesn't play on the other end of the floor. I mean,
but there's a lot of guys. Hold on. Dame ain't locking nobody down. Kyrie ain't locking nobody down. Most of these great little offensive point guards.
But you heard a lot of that, Chris. But you heard a lot of that from even players who are like, oh, they give this guy all this credit and all this. He don't play defense. They hide him out there. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't.
You heard it from dudes that like a LeBron, and I'm not saying LeBron said it, but comparing him to LeBron and guys that did play both ends.
Right. That's what I'm
saying. We could say that about most of these small point guards, other than like a Chris Paul. Most of. I mean, is the caller still there?
No.
I mean, answer that.
He's gone.
You know what I'm saying, Rob?
Let's go to
get it, but
real quick.
none of these
Let's
guys.
squeeze in Mark. Mark in Sacramento. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Mark?
What's happening? What's happening
up,
on
man?
this Flashback Friday, guys? Real quick. Hey, Chris, don't take this personal. I think it's more of the media part of it, building him up more so than it is what he is. He's a good young man. He's thoughtful in how he thinks. He thinks before he speaks. He's non-threatening. You know what? That's a different thing than what you guys do in building him up. And I can tell you, I get tired of hearing he changed the game. No, he didn't.
Hold on.
The analytics did.
He didn't change the game?
No.
He didn't change the game?
Can I finish?
Nobody was winning that way, though.
Can I finish? The analytics did, and the coaches changed from wanting to pound that ball inside to allowing these guys to shoot 40-footers. That's what changed
Why'd
the game.
they change,
Not
Mark?
him.
Keep Mark on. Why'd they change? Why'd they change it?
Pardon me?
Why'd they change it?
Because they got tired of the physicality from the 80s and the 90s. That's what they got tired of. They took that out and said, okay, let these guys shoot.
No,
that's what happened.
No. They changed because he was the first one to show you can win this way. Mike D'Antoni was doing the analytics and saying, you know what, we got to shoot more threes. But they weren't winning. The Spurs, they still don't shoot a lot of threes.
Yeah, but if
under
you look
Popovich.
But if you look at the guys
that one year they beat
But if
Miami,
you look at the guys who are winning championships, they aren't small guards shooting 3-pointers, Chris, is Kevin Durant.
He was
LeBron
the first.
James. No,
That's
but
my
I'm talking
point.
about
He
but the
was
game.
the one.
No, but the game hasn't evolved to that where other small guards shooting threes lead teams.
Nobody's been able to do it.
No, but even when he was on the
Other than
team,
him.
Kevin Durant overtook him and overtook that team.
He didn't overtake him, Rob.
He did.
Kevin Durant's a better player. Nobody doubts that. But Durant didn't roll in and say, "Give me your keys."
Where was the little guard on the Lakers that won the championship last year?
Steph willingly deferred to Durant to make it work, and he did. And that's great. He shouldn't be punished and ridiculed for that.
When
Steph Curry was the
when you
first
say they
guy.
changed the game, I'll say this. When other little guards shooting 3-pointers from half court start winning championships and leading
They're
teams,
trying. That's the thing. That's what makes Steph the greatest, is that he did it and won. None of these other dudes can win that way.
But when you say you change the game, that means everybody's using that blueprint of a small guard leading the way, and it's just not the case.
To deny that the game has changed is just asinine.
The game has changed, but they were playing this way in Europe for a long time.
It doesn't change until you
Shooting
win.
threes, all big guys. This is where this is European basketball, Chris.
Nah, y'all hating. Because to deny that Steph changed the game, if Golden State had never won shooting all these threes, it wouldn't have changed. Nobody's copying Mike D'Antoni. Nobody was copying the way Houston played because they didn't win. Steph won, and that's the difference. All right.